Nathan, you ready to talk about that amazing slasher movie where teens are stalked by an emotionless, expressionless killer?
Oh, you mean Halloween? I love Halloween.
Halloween? No, I'm talking about Final Exam.
Of course you are.
That's right, today we're talking about Final Exam, the 1981 C-grade horror film directed by Jimmy Huston, who is perhaps best known for his movie, well, I guess it's his film My Best Friend is a Vampire?
Oh yeah, that classic.
May God have mercy on your soul.
Stop!
Hi. I know what this must look like.
It does look like shit.
But look, this film Final Exam is a low-budget slasher, both for better and worse. But I mean, I do like a lot of low-budget slasher films, and you're the same, hey Nathan?
Yeah, most low-budget slashers. Some, it turns out, I don't enjoy.
Oh, really? Could one of the ones you don't like be a film that starts with F and maybe ends with Final Exam?
Oh, you mean, Porky's, basically, with the killer in it.
We can't show you more of the shower scene. Because what they're looking at isn't watered down.
They want us to look. They want us to look.
Porky. You two will be back for a second look.
That's a fair criticism, hey. Despite being sold to us as a slasher, a hell of a lot of Final Exam is focused on teens and their shenanigans.
Like, if you just came in halfway through, you'd be like, what are you watching? Some college movie.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of those types of college movies because often I feel like they're picking on people like you and me.
Where are they? I think they're talking about us. No way.
But even though this film doesn't really have enough slashing to be a slasher, it is obviously pretty indebted to one of the most important slasher films ever, and that's John Carpenter's Halloween. Like, Halloween didn't invent the genre, but it certainly cemented it.
Yeah, Halloween's definitely the most popular, that's the one that shot it into the mainlight sort of thing, the mainstream, that everyone wanted to go see more slasher movies.
And I had thought of this title some time ago called Friday the 13th. And I said to myself, if I had a film called Friday the 13th, I could sell that.
And Sean called me up and said, Halloween is making incredible money at the box office, let's rip it off. That is keeping it real.
And one of the things I really love about the original Halloween, and hell, this even continues into the more recent ones like Halloween 2018 and Halloween Kills, is that the setting is supposed to be someplace safe for the characters, and the killer disrupts that.
Yeah, suburbia, in a big house, your safe haven.
Yeah, and this movie is built on the same idea. We have a killer showing up someplace they shouldn't, and suddenly a safe place becomes a nightmare. And where is this safe place, Nathan?
On the most cliche American college campus ever.
No offense.
Speaking of morons.
Don't be late, Braino.
To be fair, it's technically two college campuses, I guess, because the opening of our movie apparently takes place on a different college to the rest of the film, but I have a sneaking suspicion it's the same location so they can save some cash. Like, it feels like the original scene should have been taking place on a lover's lane or something like that, because it's a couple on a date. But they went, we've already got a college campus, let's just say it's a different one.
Yeah, she goes, can we go somewhere other than the campus lake? I'm like, really? Why did he drive there?
I guess he wanted a little privacy as he tried to lie his way into this girl's pants.
Most awkward date ever. This first scene was just so bad. It's like, dude, stop taking your shot. It's not happening.
Hey, I'm out with you, aren't I?
Yeah, but you've been out with lots of girls, and you didn't love all of them.
Oh, well, that was different.
Yeah, but do you love me?
Of course I do.
That was bullshit.
This scene only goes for about 5 minutes, but it honestly feels like it goes for 1,000 years. But luckily for the viewer, a killer cosplaying as Jason Voorhees minus the mask shows up at some point and attacks them by cutting open the roof of their convertible. And the guy in the scene, the boyfriend, he's just so nonchalant about it all to me. It was just hilarious.
What the hell? We're out of here.
But the killer cuts the roof open to then try and undo the latches to open the roof. It's like, dude, you've already cut it open. Just stab him through the big hole you've cut in the roof.
Yeah, look, it's not the best kill scene in a slasher film, but our two characters are killed, and I hope that's enough action to hold you over for a little while, because that's it when it comes to the horror for a very long time.
Oh, I think it's like 45 minutes before someone else dies in this film. It's really slow.
I mean, there are some good slow burn slashers. Like, the original Halloween doesn't really have a very big death count, and neither does something like The Burning. Both of those kind of focus on character for large portions of the film.
No, you can have a good one. Yeah, there are good ones, but this, when I'm watching something called Final Exam, I just want a body count.
But we don't get that with Final Exam. Instead, for most of the runtime, it's nothing but cliche college stuff, including things like hazing, which, as an Australian, is just really weird to see. Like, our university life is so different to that. For the most part, we just go to campus for class and then head home. We don't have any of this sorority, fraternity stuff.
Yeah, I'm watching, I'm like, man, this is dumb. Who cares? What's this all about? They're like, oh, he's got a girlfriend. We're going to tie him to a tree. I'm like, what? Try and do that to someone in Australia. He's going to kick your ass.
What was that? Want to get smart, do ya? I'll get that tree frog. Stick it.
Yeah. They strip him down to his undies, tie him to a tree, and then pour ice in his pants.
Yeah, and then it seems, well, I don't know if it's makeup or not, but he's actually bleeding from the arm and the leg where they've dragged him across the tree. Like,
yeah. And I mean, even the security guard starts like hazing him as well, because he's like, oh, that's the tradition of the place.
He pours whiskey down his pants.
You can have yours on the rock. You fart.
Look, honestly, this movie really doesn't have much of a plot going on. Instead, you spend most of the time focusing on a gaggle of very familiar characters. You got the ditzy sorority girls, the nerds being picked on by jocks.
Come in, Igor. You know, I'm not believing you called the cops on the mighty house again.
Yeah, giving that dumb sheriff my tag number was not a good idea.
You've got a subplot about a pledge trying to steal exam papers to impress the higher-ups in the fraternity, and on and on and on. Like, it's all stuff you've seen before.
Well, you got the budget Laurie Strode throughout the whole movie, just walks around carrying books and smiling.
Damn, I'm gonna have to hand in my horror fan badge, because I didn't even put that one together, hey, but you're totally right.
When I first saw it, I'm like, wow, they just are like, well, we can't get Jamie Lee Curtis. Well, their cousin will do.
But you're totally right. She really is a budget Laurie Strode from Halloween, because she's the shy, reserved bookworm who kind of goes up against the big bad and confronts them and takes them out.
Yeah, she's trying to be a good, and she doesn't like her friend who's like, well, it's not her fault she's using a body, but it's just not fair and all this, like that big rant she has with Braino.
I'm not jealous. Well, not the bad kind of jealousy. But it's just so easy for her. I guess that's what I resent.
It's natural.
I'm like, oh, God, can we just, someone die?
Well, to be fair, Nathan, we do think that somebody dies, because we do get another trope of the college film, and that is the prank or the pranksters. Because the jock fraternity does play a joke on the campus, and it's pretty damn shocking. It actually made my jaw hit the floor. What happens?
Yeah, pranks, inverted commas. Oh my God. When that scene started, I was like, is this actually, there's a mass shooting scene. Well, it looks like a mass shooting. A bunch of guys with ski masks, machine guns jump out of a van, start shooting people and picking up the bodies and throwing them in the van. And everyone's like, oh, classic prank. I'm like, what?
Everyone's so fine with the fact that this was a prank. They're all like, oh, it's just a little bit of fun. And I'm like, that has not aged well.
Yeah. Do that in this day and age and they'd be shot by one of the guards on the campus that's armed.
Does it really surprise you such awful characters would pull such an awful prank, though? Like, most of the characters in this movie are not people you want to spend time with, especially Wildman and the other frat boys.
He's like spraying whipped cream everywhere. I'm like, what?
Oh, that entire scene in their dorm is just disgusting.
Yeah, but I've got to tell you that during final exams, the prices rise with demand.
That one didn't age quite so well.
But the problem is with the film is it's like it's trying to do it all in real time because like nothing's happening. They're all just talking. We're building up characters. We still don't have a motive for a killer. There's no suspense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, absolutely. Like, it's cool to take the time to build up characters if they're actually interesting, or if there's some kind of contrast or context to them. Like in Halloween, you spend a lot of time developing the main teenagers, but you also have Dr. Loomis, the psychiatrist, trying to track down Michael Myers. which breaks things up and builds the tension and the meaning behind everything.
Yeah, there's context to it. It's not just a random dude in a van.
Yeah, that's the closest thing we get in this movie. There's a van constantly driving around, which we as the audience know is the killer's vehicle, but he really doesn't do anything until near the end of the film, and even then, the kills aren't particularly memorable or impressive.
Here's Johnny.
Who is this guy? 1 minute he's like this, like he's a big lumbering dude, whoever the killer is, who I don't even think they say who it is.
Well, they don't say his name, but we get a better sense of his character and complexity when we see what he's called in the credits. Like, it's clear they gave him a lot of thought.
Okay, don't kill me, killer.
Maybe he doesn't have a name because he's not a real person. I mean, he does some pretty unreal things throughout the film.
The coach shows up with the bow and arrow because he said he was going to go hunting, but for some reason he shows up on campus again at like 2 a.m. with a bow and arrow, and he fires an arrow at the guy, and the guy catches it like he's some sort of a freaking ninja. It's like, holy crap.
Nathan, this is the same killer who can apparently just teleport into barrels.
Yeah.
Or up into a tree.
Who is it?
There's something in those trees.
So why is this killer killing, Nathan?
Well, at one stage I thought I put way too much thought into it. Thought, well, maybe it's actually a couple of frat guys all dressed up the same, and that's why they're in a van, because there's more than one of them.
Okay.
And they're going around and trying to attack people on another campus, like some psycho frat. But no, that doesn't happen.
You see, I thought maybe he was meant to represent the randomness of chaos and chance, which is emphasized in that scene where he goes to the service station and flips a coin and asks the attendant to call it.
Oh, I couldn't say. Call it. Call it, yes. For what? Just call it.
Yeah, same haircut.
In a movie that is nothing but bad haircuts, his is the real killer, hey?
Oh, man. The main frat dude, his hair is like double the height of his head in some scenes. Like, wow.
It's absurd. And then there's a guy that has like a mullet and a puffy front with a part in the middle. I mean, the 80s were a mistake, like, obviously.
Feel that softness in your style. Alberto Mousse, European styling foam.
Designed to hold your hair in any style with softness.
But in all seriousness, maybe he's there for revenge, because we do get a scene where some of the characters talk about a girl who took her own life after being rejected by a sorority. And maybe this killer knew her, because why else would they bring this all up?
But last year a girl killed herself because a sorority wouldn't accept her.
How awful! She jumped from the top of McWilliams Tower, 6 floors.
Well, I bet it made them feel terrible.
See, but there you go. You've put a plot thread together that they didn't. Or if they did do it, they didn't convey it very well.
Yeah, and I might be completely wrong, but as a viewer, you expect some kind of motivation or reason, even if that reason is just, you know, he's pure evil.
I spent 8 years trying to reach him, and then another 7 trying to keep him locked up because I realized that what was living behind that boy's eyes was purely and simply evil.
The killer's here, he's now killing people. They're going to explain who he is. Someone will recognize him. There'll be a connection, like, especially when the coach shows up and that, like, maybe he'd be like, oh my God, it's Bobby from wherever. And you go, okay, there's a clue. But nothing. And then he dies and it just ends.
Yeah, our bad guy falls to his death. And then we pretty much just cut to credits. Like, I blinked for 1 second and then it was all over, and I thought like maybe I'd fallen into sleep or something and missed a big chunk. But nope, it's just over that quickly. I know some people might like that kind of abrupt ending, but like, it's so lackluster. So obviously this movie is a little indebted to Halloween, whether it be the slow, methodical shots of the approaching killer, or even some of the POV shots we get from the killer's perspective. But there's something else as well, hey?
The cheap budget version of the Halloween theme song playing? Like, it sounds very similar, but it's not it.
But the real question is this: why does Halloween work while this kind of film doesn't?
The problem with this film is it's a whole lot of nothing and then everyone dies at the end. If it was spread out more, you know what I mean? Like if they paced it better, it'd be like you never knew when it was going to happen. Where this one was kind of like you never knew what was going to happen, but then by the time something did happen, you didn't care anymore because it took too long between the main beats, I guess.
Yeah, you're completely right. It'd be such a better film if the horror was spread evenly throughout, or if you had someone like the sheriff taking on the Dr. Loomis role from Halloween, you know, helping modulate the tone a little from all the endless teen stuff. But it's okay overall. Like, it's not fantastic, but it's definitely not the worst slasher ever.
I'm pretty sure it's not even the worst slasher from that year.